What's up, you beautiful motherfuckers? Frankie Finn here. We're going to do a free training on the less but better approach to agency lead generation, actually generating clients. And by the way, so you guys know, this is after like 15 years of working with this stuff. We only contact like 5 people at a time to like potentially work together, and we'll close like 3 of them without a phone call. And there's a pretty big magic to that number. I'll tell you what that is in just a second. I want to just show you something funny. This little graphic says, "Wow, how'd you get like that? Every time a prospect ghosts me, I do 1 push-up." Jesus Christ. Homeboy over here is shredded. So for most of you guys, by the way, if you got like a $1,000 to like $5,000 a month service, most of you guys, if you're just signing around 1 client a week, like 4 to 5 clients a month, you'll hit $1 million within a year and a half. So that's the magic of these numbers, is like, it doesn't seem like much, but like you don't have to do, I want to show you a better way, at least in my opinion, that you don't have to do all the chasing and prospecting. For those of you guys who don't know me already, who are seeing this on YouTube, my name's Frankie Finn. I'm the author of the book Beyond the Agency Box, and since 2007 I've built 3 different agencies up to 100 plus simultaneous clients, and I've helped hundreds of people worldwide and like mentor them to live this whole kind of agency laptop lifestyle. So let's get into it, okay? So I want to show you firstly what not to do, and we'll get into the good stuff in just a second. This isn't like a long build up or anything like that. But the way most people do lead generation, in my opinion, is they do one of 2 things. They kind of hope and pray for clients, like that they happen organically, that clients are just going to magically show up, you do a good job, they'll refer you. I'm not saying that never happens, but it's a very difficult way to grow an agency. Often it's just because they just don't know how to do lead generation. Or a lot of people do think volume, the message bukkake, like I'll message thousands of people and do that. And that stuff works. Like, I'm not saying not to do that if that's your style, but I like a more just like very focused, targeted approach. I spend more time crafting a message to one person. Like, so this last month, I actually only sent out 1 message to one client. That client, some of you guys will know him, that I'm potentially going to work with. I don't know if it's not a signed, sealed, and delivered or anything, but is Perry Marshall's team. I had an idea for Perry Marshall, who's the AdWords Bible kind of dude. And that's it. I sent 1 message, and we're 1 for 1, at least on booked appointments, right? So that's what you can do with the power of this, okay? So this is most people's approach to lead generation, and I want to discourage you guys away from like thinking about people as numbers and credit cards with legs. It's just the spray and pray method. I want to show you a much more laser focus. So I'm not picking on Karsten. I actually encourage people to do the kind of stuff he's doing. I mean, he's being proactive, trying to get clients, so I'm not criticizing, but his approach is, ahoy, Frankie, I know you probably get pitched a lot, wanted to reach out, see if you're interested in getting 40 booked appointments on autopilot per month. Can I send more info? Now, if Karsten had done just like 2 minutes of research, he would have found out that I'm the guy who actually wrote the book about not having meetings and not having booked appointments, right? So, I can understand why that would be appealing for a lot of people, but like, he's just spraying and praying. He's probably copy and paste this message to a lot of people. I'm sure if you were Jennifer, it would say, ahoy, Jennifer. If you're Dave, it would say, ahoy, Dave. And he's just copy and pasting and kind of spraying and praying. That's his approach to lead generation. If I send enough of these messages, 1 of them or 2 of them will land. You can do that. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I want to show you a much more laser focused way. And this is kind of our way of doing it, is I'll send like either a couple letters in the mail or a couple of messages or email. It's less about the medium that you're using. I'll show you how to choose the medium in a second. This is the kind of responses I get. Just one out of the Texas for the long hot summer. Then the stupid politician's been traveling since June. I got your letter in the mail. Joan, my marketing manager, was supposed to reach out to you. Don't know if she ever did. She's misspelling your name, but it was correct. I'm always interested in your stuff. Basically, like, let's go. That's it. I just get a little text message. We start. Deal proceeds. So I'm going to show you guys how we do that. And a big influence, by the way, if you guys haven't read it already, this is Greg McCune's Essentialism. The idea behind the book is to do less, but do those things better. So we're going to send less messages to people, but we're going to send better fucking messages to the people we send. So I'm going to give you like kind of like the 5 steps for these. The first, obviously, if you haven't already done this, you got to pick a niche. I'm going to show you really quickly my process for picking a niche. And it's basically like what people do with niches when they generally make a mistake is they go too broad. I do SEO, or it's about their tool. In my experience, the best thing you can do is make your thing the 3 levels deep. So level 1 is, there's really only 3 kinds of businesses I've ever found. There's the e-commerce, you're going to sell physical products online. There's the local business, you're going to sell stuff for a brick and mortar business in the real world. Or an expertise thing like coaches, consultants, courses, people who are selling their knowledge and their wisdom. That's basically it. I've looked around, I'm sure there's other niches, but those are the 3 I found. So you're going to start with one of those if you haven't already, and you're going to narrow it down to an industry. And so, like, let's say, for example, you pick local businesses, like, you got to get more focus in that. Like, pick a dentist or pick a lawyer or a doctor or whatever. And then there's a concept I call the nickel and the $100 bill. The idea is, like, what most people are doing, like whether they're doing SEO or web design or things like that, is they're generating leads for businesses. And what will make your lead services infinitely more valuable is to understand that leads are a spectrum. And the nickel is like the really cheap, high volume stuff. You can often find lots of it. Like a coach, for example, an online coach might have a $27 intro course. You could help them sell gazillions of those and they probably still wouldn't make a lot of money. And it'd be hard to because your margins are really small. They might also have a $40,000 mastermind. I would call that their $100 bill. If all things being equal, specialize in helping coaches sell the $40,000 mastermind. You'll be amazed. It'll make your service more valuable. So that means if you're doing SEO, you do SEO to help coaches sell their $40,000 mastermind. If you're doing web design, you're doing web design to help them sell their $40,000 mastermind. If you're doing AdWords, you're doing AdWords to help them sell their $40,000 mastermind, right? It's the $40,000 mastermind they want to sell. So in every niche, there's a spectrum. It might not be as extreme like in e-commerce. It might be like a $7 trinket and a $99 a month recurring supplement. All things being equal, help them sell the $99 a month recurring supplement, not the nickel kind of thing. So that's the basic process. And the reason why you want to pick a niche is because it's going to be really hard to have a focused message if you're just talking to anyone and anything. So this is one of my secrets to doing less but better. I got to fix my titles here. For those of you guys who haven't heard me talk about this already, I have a concept I call the shoe buyers. And I want you to imagine for a second, if you've never heard me say this before, that your service is like the equivalent of selling shoes. Now, what do I mean by that? Is logically, what most people do is they look for people who are barefoot and logically need what they do, right? So you think about companies that are struggling and need marketing, you go after those companies because they need marketing. And in reality, what you want to do is focus on the people who buy in any niche, and you're looking for somebody who owns a closet full of 200 pairs of shoes. I'll show you a real example of this in just a second. So I want somebody who owns a Nike, who owns an Adidas, who owns a Reebok, who owns hiking shoes, who owns dress shoes. Like, I don't want somebody that just, because the harder sale, by the way, to make to somebody is to convince them to buy shoes at all. So this means, like, for example, I'll show you in like my niche. If we go to the Google and we just type in personal injury lawyer, let's click Tampa, okay? The first 3 people I see are shoe buyers, and I know this because of this magic word called sponsored. So I know these people have the capacity and ability to spend on marketing, and I know this because they're doing it right now. They're at the shoe store buying shoes, right? Same with these ones. These are all ads, and even these ones to a certain extent probably as well, because in a big city like Tampa, they probably are paying for SEO and a website. So there's like if you look at this one, this one, Catania and Catania, they're in both spots. So there's like 2 pairs of shoes, right? They're paying for ads and they're paying for SEO. They're like near the top. So like there's 2 pairs of shoes, right? So I'm only contacting shoe buyers. This will save you so much of your time and headaches because I only want to contact a small number of people who I know can buy it, have a proven history of spending money and buying shit like this. There's a tendency to think logically and think, well, this person on page 9 over here, let's just click on one. Let's go with this guy. Blick Law Firm. Well, he needs SEO, right? He needs rankings. He's nowhere to be found. And chances are he will never pay you for it because he doesn't value. Now, having said that, there is 1 pair of shoes here, right? He did pay for a website, so that's at least one version of it. But I would much rather go after somebody who has a closet full of shoes. And this is counterintuitive because often we think like, oh, they have a bunch of marketing already. They're doing really well. And I'll tell you, the longer you run a business, your problems never go away. They just change, right? So these businesses that you think have everything figured out do not. They have problems and they need help with their shoes. The laces break. They don't have a hiking shoe. They need somebody who can help them pick out shoes for a wedding. There's all kinds of reasons why they still need more shoes. So what you want to do is show up with shoes to the person with a closet full of shoes. This, I'm telling you, this alone will eliminate like 90% of the prospecting most people do. Because when you chase somebody who's barefoot, there's really 2 sales you have to make. Sale number 1 is to convince them to buy shoes at all. And sale number 2 is that your shoe solution is the best solution. And it's actually sale number one that's the really hard one to make. If they don't, like, if you contact a lawyer, for example, who's been in practice for 25 years and got their business from referrals and say, you need to advertise, they're going to say, why? I've been growing from referrals, right? I don't buy shoes. I don't need shoes. Why are you telling me I need shoes, right? So it's much easier to go to somebody and say, hey, I see you're doing AdWords. I see you're doing Facebook. And I see you got a website. And I see you're paying for SEO. So we're going to target less people, right? And we're going to target them very carefully and hand-selected, okay? So then we're going to have to offer these people something. And I'll tell you, the biggest way to make your sales journey easier and like really kind of in a lot of ways just eliminate the sales headaches and things like that are to have an offer that's easy peasy to say yes to. This is our big secret why we don't have to do phone calls. And I'll tell you just a little story about this that illustrates this. And I was just talking to a really fucking smart agency owner. And we were talking about the fact that when I first started, I was selling SEO, and I did it for plastic surgeons. And my kind of like angle and hook was just that like I was niched down. It was something, but it wasn't nothing. And in those days, that was a hard to sell offer because my offer was basically like, give me a lot of money, wait a long time, and hopefully it works, but I can't guarantee it because most of it is in Google's hands, and Google's fucking crazy. So like pay me a lot of money, wait a long time, no results guaranteed. That's a hard to sell offer. And so what would happen is people would ghost me and they would want proposals and I'd have to follow up people and chase them. One day, by the way, I didn't come up with this offer. I wish I could tell you it was really brilliant, but I was in the game and it happened. Is a plastic surgeon said to me, what I really want is mommy makeover patients because they're like $40,000. They're easy to help. They usually end up happy. Do you think you could build me a website for mommy makeover? And I said, yeah, why not? I mean, it'd just be different content, right? Like it's the same idea. And then he said, do you think you could rank for mommy makeover keywords? And so I plugged into the Google keyword tool, did a little research, checked around, and did, scoped out the competition a little bit. And after a couple minutes, I was like, yeah, we could rank for mommy makeover. And then he said, do you think the phone would ring with mommy makeover people? And I said, I don't see why not. We have a mommy makeover offer and a mommy makeover website, and we're ranking for mommy makeover keywords. Well, we did that, by the way. Beautiful thing about that is, by the way, when you sell a $40,000 service for a surgeon, you don't really have to bring them a lot of people to keep them happy, right? Like if your SEO package is $2,500 a month and he only gets one person every 3 months, he's still going to be happy with you because he's ROI-ing like crazy, right? So that was what ended up happening, by the way, when we had that offer where we had the mommy makeover offer, is whenever I would show that to a surgeon, they wanted it. It was like downhill. There was no chasing. There was no proposals. There was no anything. Suddenly we were swimming with the current instead of going against it because they wanted that thing, right? So whatever that is for you, you're going to have to like spend a little bit of time and really figure out the offer. I'll give you 3 principles that'll make this offer, this intro offer to clients a whole bunch easier. One is that specificity prints cash. Like it's way better to be specific than broad. Most people err on the side of being broad. We do SEO for any dentist alive. I'll show you in a minute why that's bad. I'll show you an example of why this is a bad idea. Another thing is you want to add on to what they're doing, trying to replace them. This is why I say like selling Facebook ads is hard because if you're going to sell Facebook ads, they have to fire their Facebook ads person. They got to cut somebody. They got to let them go. They got to do all those things, right? They got to say, get out of the account. They got to add you to the account. Those are a lot of things to do. That's what happens when you try and get somebody to replace. When you add on, there's nobody to replace. There's no competition. You put yourself in a little category 1. So maybe it's just a single campaign. Or, for example, maybe it's a messenger bot, right? Messenger bots, by the way, right now are so much easier to sell than Facebook ads because messenger bots add on. Hey, we can add on to what you're doing with a messenger bot versus, hey, let us replace your Facebook ads guy and get a better return on ad spend. So think smaller. Think like niche campaign if you can. Like, and this is so simple. People go, well, if they only buy one little niche campaign, but I want to sell them my $2,500 a month thing, how are we going to do that? Well, it's very easy. Once the little niche campaign goes well, what do you think they're going to want to buy? More of what you do. And the more of what you do is you offer them the $2,500 a month thing or whatever it is. So you sell them your expensive thing on step 2. That's really it. And then the other thing is we want to have a first date. Like if you walk up to a stranger in a bar and say, hey, I just met you. Let's go for some dates together. And I want you to meet my mom. And I want to go all these cool places. And I got trips planned for you. And I want to have kids with you. And you seem amazing. Let's get married. You're probably not going to get a lot of yeses. If you go, hey, you seem really cool. I'd love to take you out for this nice little coffee place. It's just up the street. We can go for like 20 minutes and see if we connect. What do you think? right? You're going to have more success with the 20-minute coffee date. It's no different in offer making with clients. So what we do is we just offer a little first date that automatically leads into the client thing. And the hardest part is showing restraint, because I know you probably have like 50 cool things you can offer to a client. So I see this all the time where people say, buy my lead package for a year, and it's way better just to offer a package of 10 leads, because if they like the leads, what do you think they're going to buy more of? More leads, right? So we want it to be specific, we want it to add on, we want it to be small. You do those things, it'll work. And I'll show you why this is key. Okay, so this is a little graphic I have in the mastermind. Here's somebody who's got something that's not specific, it doesn't add on, it's generic as fuck, and it's probably marriagey, right? Small business marketing services, we do, and you can't really see the text here because it's kind of a shitty image quality, but basically they do email marketing. We'll do Google pay-per-click. We do, what's this one? Local review management. We do website. We do geo-targeting service. We'll run Facebook ads, right? A little bit of everything. By the way, if you look at this, it's broad, like it's untargeted. It's for any small business. It replaces most of those services. They're going to have people, so you're going to have to replace somebody. And it's a marriage, right? Because like it doesn't say so, but if you ask them, they're probably going to say we work together on a 12-month contract, right? So that's when you get hard to sell shit. That's when they want meetings and phone calls, and you got to do a lot of prospecting to overcome that. Here's a dude who's got something super small, super narrow, super specific that adds on, okay? I don't know this guy. I just suspect this offer is probably crushing it. Said, James and I are looking for mortgage brokers who are writing $3 million per month or more and want to get to $10 million per month in the next 12 months or so. This is our sweet spot. Brokers come to us doing around $3 million. We help them double or triple it around 12 months. The other thing, by the way, that nobody talks about, this is harder to deliver than this, right? Because they can reuse the same thing for mortgage brokers over and over. But this one, every client's going to be a custom solution, right? So they're going to have to figure out how to write custom website copy. They're going to have to write custom emails. This stuff, they can use the same shit over and over for the mortgage broker. So it's going to be a much easier deliverable. So if you're going to aim for something, be more like this mortgage broker and less like this dude being everybody to everything. So again, specific, add-on, first date. That's the trifecta. If you do that, you'll make your life a whole lot easier. Okay. This is the part that some people struggle with, which is you got to proactively get in front of them. There's no secret. There's only really two ways you can do that, by the way. Paid ads, organic. Paid ads, organic. That's it. So we are going to take people, like if we decide we want to specialize in the $40,000 coaching thing or the mortgage broker thing, we're going to have to get in front of those people, right? Like there's no magic formula to get leads that doesn't. And I'll tell you the biggest reason that people don't do this is they fear rejection. And if you do it the bukkake way that most people do, which is like this guy, like, hey, let me copy and paste you a message. There's a lot of rejection. There's a lot of fuck off. I don't really experience that kind of rejection. Like even when people say it's not for them, like there's no hurt feelings over it. So I'll tell you, Tim Ferriss has been a big secret in this for me. He says, the least crowded channel for meeting high-profile bloggers is in person. Email is the most difficult, the most crowded. I'm a top 1,000 blogger, not a top 100 blogger, and I get hundreds of pitches by email every week. Most of them I don't even see because my assistant declines them. So I want you to, this 3-word phrase here, least crowded channel, okay? So when you prospect to somebody, if you're trying to reach a mortgage broker, I want you to think about the least crowded channel. It's a little bit different in every niche. Sometimes it'll be a Facebook message. Sometimes it'll be a LinkedIn message. Sometimes it'll be their personal email address. Sometimes it's direct mail. Sometimes it's an old-fashioned phone call or a text message. But I want you to zig when everyone else is zagging, right? So like if email is almost always, by the way, email is the most crowded channel. Everybody talks about doing email, but I actually don't typically do a lot of email outreach. I do a lot of my outreach because it's the most crowded channel. So I go specifically where the other marketers are not. My go-to is direct mail. But having said that, as long as you go to a less fucking crowded channel than everybody else, and usually that means a little bit of work. Like if you're going to send a customized message to somebody on LinkedIn, usually you got to connect first. Or Facebook, you got to connect first. That's at least one level deeper than most people are doing with their spray and pray marketing. And when I'm proactively getting in front of them, what I'm doing is really simple. Okay? If I have a lot of proof of concept, meaning like I've done SEO for like 100 clients and my shit works and I know it works and I can show lots of examples of it working, I'm going to ask the client to take on the risk, meaning they're going to pay me first. If I have no proof of concept, then I'm going to take on the risk and I'm going to ask to be paid second. I'm going to say, let me do this thing for you. Let me get it working. You can pay me second. Now, a lot of entrepreneurs really fucking hate this. I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second. You're an entrepreneur. Your job is to take on fucking risk. Your job is not to avoid risk. Your job is to manage risk. And the way you manage this risk, by the way, I don't just beg any dentist to work for me. I hand select a shoe buyer, and I hand select an add-on offer that is specific and is first datey, and then I reach out to them. I'm not begging for business when I do this. I'm saying I've identified you as a very specific target, and therefore I want to do this cool thing for you, and I know it works, and I'm happy to prove it to you first and take on the risk. Right? Like, so that means like, I'll build you this really fucking cool, awesome website, or maybe it adds on. Like, for example, we have a guy in our mastermind who works with cleaning companies. He figured out one of the big things they get is they get a bunch of people who call them and say, how much is it? And they want a quote. Well, he figured out how to make a quote machine right on the website so that like they wouldn't have to give all these custom quotes on the phone. And then when people call them, they're less tire kickers because they already know how much it costs. So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to say, hey, let me install this fucking cool new thing on your website. And if you think it's cool and if you think it eliminates some of the tire kickers, you can pay me after it's working. And if you don't, I'll just put your old website back. I'll back everything up and no harm, no foul, right? You can do this. This is a big secret, right? Like if you're in the beginning stages, by the way, I occasionally come out with new offers every, I don't know, like 6, 12 months or something like that. And when I do, I start right back at zero and I take on all the risk again. This is the easiest way to get clients really quickly is you take on the risk. Meaning, let me do something cool for you that adds on, it's specific, and I'll be paid second. Once I have it working and I have a bunch of case studies, I hammer them with the proof and ask them to pay up front. Okay, so that should make your life a lot easier because a lot of you guys, part of the reason is you have no proof of concept and you're asking people to pay. But this is why like having a first date is key, right? Like I'm not committing myself to a 12-month project that I might never get paid for. I'm committing myself to a small little miniaturized first date add-on, right? So like if I'm doing SEO, I wouldn't offer the whole damn SEO package. I might offer one easy to rank keyword. Let me show you one easy to rank keyword. I'll rank you for that keyword and then you can pay me after the fact, right? So I hope that helps you guys make sense of that. And then the last thing is, I should say there's two last things. This is my secret message formula for reaching out to people, okay? Is, I should say, okay. So there's 3 parts I do to the message, and this is my kind of formula. It's not the only formula, like I said. First thing is when I reach out to somebody, the message starts about them, right? So like this is why like when people do spray and pray, yeah, it's easier for this guy right here to copy and paste a message up front. But if he had spent like just 30 seconds cruising my profile, he could have like mentioned, like, let's actually see what's on there right now, just so you guys can see a real example of this. Let's go to Big Daddy's profile here and see what we got. If it loads. If it loads, okay, so Ilka, my lady, is mentioning we're about to have another baby, right? So, like, there's something you can talk about. Holy shit. And by the way, it's not just a baby, it's our 3rd baby, which you would know if you read this post, right? And we're also moving in there. And you could also see that my kids were sick. You can see, nice quote from my man, David. David, good dude. Here's us at the beach, right? So there's like 4 different personalization things I could use. I could use, hey, Frankie, just saw, like, really excited for you about your 3rd baby. Saw you're moving. Saw your kids were sick. Saw you guys at the beach. Saw an awesome quote from David about you, right? Like, there's lots of things you can use. Having friends over. Woohoo! So, lots of things you can use. Personalize if you just take 30 seconds. And you can do this when you don't have thousands of copy and paste messages to send. When you're only sending, like, 4 or 5, like, just take 30, 60 seconds. So first thing I do is I write about them. Second thing I do is I call it naming their baby, but it's really, really simple. It is naming like the actual thing they have for sale. So like, for example, I'll do it with me. It's very different to say like, hey, I want to bring you more clients or patients or customers, and saying, hey, Frankie, I saw you have the book, Beyond the Agency Box. I'd be very interested in helping you sell your book, Beyond the Agency Box. It's got a name. Their babies always have a name, their service, their product, their business. Name it. right? It shows that you've written to them and them specifically. You do that, you'll find like the messages like just catch a lot better, right? There's a big difference between I want to help you get more business and I want to help you sell your book beyond the agency box. So be specific, name their baby. And then the second thing or the third thing I do is I offer a specific add-on first date offer, and it is a give, not a take. Big reason people have a hard time with this. This is like a take, like this message here. 40 booked appointments. Do you want to pay us to generate 40 booked appointments, right? He's going to ask for all the cash up front. As where I might say, hey, let me run one little campaign for you. Show you it works. Right? That's a give. That's not a take, right? So if you think about this thing, your life will get a whole bunch easier if you write a little message. And this can be done in like 1 to 3 sentences, by the way. This doesn't have to be a fucking novel. Like a lot of times people send me fucking novels when they send these kind of messages. You don't need to send a novel. Just like one little short, hey, Frankie, saw you're having a kid. Would love to help you sell your book beyond the agency box. Had a little test campaign I wanted to run for you. Would you be open to let me prove to you that it works? You can pay me after it works, right? That's with no proof of concept. If it works, and I've got lots of cases, I would say something like, hey, Frankie, just saw you're about to have another baby and you're moving. How cool. Really like beyond the agency box. Would actually want to help sell it on your behalf. We've done this for 12 different authors already, and these are the results we've been generated. Would you be open to running a little test campaign? Right? You do that, like the messages just work. They just work. And then the last thing is, I will repeat as necessary. This is my formula, by the way. If I got something very specific and I've hand selected you and I know it's going to work, I have a simple formula. There's 3 outcomes: buy, die, unsubscribe, right? So like you're going to buy it, you're going to die, or you're going to tell me to fuck off. And I'm okay with being told to fuck off. This is really, really key because we don't want to, what I should say is like, if there's a bunch of shoe buyers, right? Like what do you think is better? Chasing 100 people one time who never wear shoes and never will? Or to contact one shoe buyer 100 times? What do you think is actually a better use of your time? And the answer is one shoe buyer 100 times. So we want to think about, if we need to, you often don't, by the way. If you make somebody like a really personalized, low risk, hey, let me help you, hand extended kind of offer, you'd be amazed that usually they take you up on the first message. But if necessary, I will send 100 fucking messages until you answer. So that's my kind of short version of prospecting. And you can do this, by the way, like 5-10 messages a month. You can pick up 3 clients. You don't need a phone call because phone calls are required when you have SEO and complicated things. They're not required when you have the Mommy Makeover website. So this, I hope, helps you guys. Just a quick little recap. We don't want to do spray and pray, copy and paste messages. We're going to take a little bit of time. We're going to have the $100 niche. We're going to target the shoe buyers. We're going to have something that's specific, that adds on, that is a first date. We're going to proactively get in front of those people with the proof of concept, with the least crowded channel. If we have proof of concept, we're going to hammer them with the proof. If we have no proof of concept, we're going to say, I will take on the risk and be paid second. And we create a small miniaturized version. We're not going to like do 12 months of SEO for somebody. We're going to do just like one little keyword, one little thing, right? Like we're going to do one little give for you first before asking for any cashola, paid second. And we're going to have a message that's super personalized. We're going to name their baby, and it's going to be specific, and it's going to give something. And then, if necessary, we'll follow up with you and keep following up with you because we've identified you as a target we want to work with. So hope that's helpful for you guys. That's kind of it in a nutshell. If you guys want some help, by the way, on the implementation side of this, actually getting your offer dialed in, reach out to me because like we got some cool shit inside the mastermind. I'll send you a little video with just details about, pricing and kind of what we do if you think that would be useful for you. But otherwise, I hope this is helpful for you guys. I created this so like you guys can refer back to this again and again because this is our way of doing less but better lead gen that works, and you can hit $1 million a year run rates without having to do like shit tons of prospecting. Because like I've said, most agencies, you're trying to build a lifestyle agency, you're going to max out at 100 clients. So you don't really need to go after gazillions of people. You need to hand select those 100 more carefully that you can best help and best serve and best make a difference for. So that's all I got for you guys in this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. And otherwise, guys, may the force be with you.